Yeah. So on the schedule today, we had the goals of the class we're talking about: summarizing, paraphrasing, quotations, and in general, avoiding plagiarism. Those were the goals of today's class. We'll be discussing those. I'm going to write those here, because I think we can begin with a discussion of what you've read. So, summarization comes from the verb to summarize. Paraphrasing. Quotations, or quoting. Quoting. Or citing. I'm also going to write citing. Quoting, citing. And the last was avoiding plagiarism. Avoiding plagiarism. So let's see if we can talk about the differences between these first three, especially between summarizing and paraphrasing. Is there a difference? Is there a difference? What do you think, Marina?
Yes, I think summarizing and paraphrasing are different concepts.
So how would you define summarization? How would you define summarization?
It's review.
It's almost like a review of the text, but a review is more, reviews tend to be more critical. So reviews don't only just summarize the text, but they analyze it or they critique the text. A summarization is sort of...
resume. Resume. I think resume.
A little bit. See, we use the term resume to mean something different. We use the term resume to mean curriculum vitae or specifically just about work. So here, does anybody have any other ideas? Larissa, how would you define summarization?
I think that summarization is the reviews about or is the position of the other scientist about text, or maybe
describing, or we could say noting. Noting the main idea.
Main idea is good.
The main idea or the main points of a text. Again, I'm going to put review down here because, at least to my mind, Professor Simonson, you can let me know if you agree or disagree, but I think there's an element of critique or a little bit more analysis involved in a review.
Yeah, I think review, you're inserting your opinion. I've always thought, at least when I've written book reviews or when you think of a movie review or something in the even the fine arts, ballet, opera, it's usually what you thought of it. It was good, bad. I always think of summarization as just the essential ideas, the big idea. To put it really simply, the big ideas. Yeah.
And what about paraphrasing? Olya, how would you define paraphrasing?
It's when you're trying to say something in other words.
Yes, it's like you're trying to quote someone. So I could say, to paraphrase Olya, she described this word as that's sort of a difficult example trying to do that, but you're taking a quotation and putting it in your own words. So it's not a direct quotation because you're not putting it in quotation marks. It is, or we'll say a statement of another person put in your own words.
Different points of view?
Yeah, or you could say, oftentimes we'd say, to paraphrase Crystal, for example, or, you know, it could begin with that sort of phrase, to paraphrase Crystal, for example, English, blah, blah, blah. And then we would give one of his main points here, to paraphrase. You're restating. Yes, I like that better.
Yeah.
You're restating something. Restating. To paraphrase, to restate something. And what's the difference between paraphrasing and quoting?
Quoting, it's a reference to other scientific works about the same problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they could be direct quotations, which means they would have these quotation marks. Let me see if I can find them on this computer. Yeah. For example, this is a direct quotation. I don't know if you can see this now, right? Can you see it?
Reference to other work. Are there differences between quoting and citing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would say so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can anybody guess what that difference is? Can anybody guess the difference between quoting and citing? It's sort of a subtle.
Citing is the word of the author.
Yeah, you're also making reference to another work.
Чужая речь.
They're very similar. What do you think, Professor Semmingsen? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I always think of quotes as a direct quote, and you have to, at least in APA, the American Psychological Association format that I use, or we, you know, in my field of education, we have to always put the page number we found it on, and we, you know, use quotation marks. And with citing, you might just say, recent research shows evidence of, and then you cite several sources, but you don't necessarily use the quotation marks because you're just speaking broadly or more generally. So to me, with citing, you don't always have to use quotes because you're not always directly quoting when you're citing.
Exactly. So I'm going to make a note of this here. I'm going to say quoting. Quoting is usually direct quotations from another person, right? And citing, general reference to another person's work or acknowledgement of that person's work. You could be simply acknowledging that this work exists. Okay, so I can give you some examples as well in just a second. I found very, very quickly just some work from a chapter that I've written. It's still under review, so it's just for your eyes only today. So I just
okay.
yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but it's got some examples of maybe paraphrasing, quoting, citing, and some ways that we can avoid plagiarism. So basically, and this is extremely, extremely important in the United States, avoiding plagiarism. What is plagiarism?
It's using ideas of other people as own.
Yes. Using the work or ideas of another person and claiming them as your own. Exactly. So basically you're not citing. You're not citing. And when you don't take care to cite or to do these quotations, you're taking away from the work of the other person. Perhaps it's been that person's lifelong project, and someone just comes along one day and borrows from it. It's like theft, really. So ways that we can do this, obviously, I always think, even to myself, when in doubt, if there's any question about whether or not I need to cite something, I will always cite it, even
Me
if I don't
too.
need to. Yes,
Yeah.
you can delete the citation later if it's not necessary, but if there is any question, always include the citation. Because in the United States, you don't want to get caught plagiarizing. It could ruin your career. And in some universities, the policy is so strict that students caught plagiarizing will be thrown out of the program, kicked out of the program, or even out of the university. So it's just something very serious that it's better to err on the side of caution. That might be a saying you don't know. I'll write it in chat. To err on the side of caution. So it's better to be safe than sorry later.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, better to be safe than sorry. That's another good saying. So to err on the side of caution, it means if you're going to make a mistake, it's better that your mistake comes from your being too cautious rather than not cautious enough. Better to be safe than sorry. So I know you all are professionals, so we don't need to spend a lot of extra time on this, but it was something that was written on the syllabus, so we needed to cover it. Okay. I have, this is from my own work, from a chapter that I've been writing for a book, sort of on area studies on the South Caucasus and Central Asia. So what I want to do here is look at this, and you can give me, I want you to underline examples of, I have an idea actually. I'm going to write this in the chat. So
Okay.
yellow is going to be direct quotation. Red is going to be simply citation. And what else? That's basically the two main things. Citation, summarization. I don't know if I have any summarization in here, but just in case, I'll put blue because I have some other excerpts. Summarization. And if there's any paraphrasing, I'm not sure if there is actually, we will say green will be paraphrasing. Exactly, I see somebody doing this already. Okay, so who did the first one? Was it you, Marina? Okay, good.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, so this is a direct quotation.
Okay. Yeah.
They, as in language policy and planning, are political and that their place on the political agenda is secured when politicians direct quote. I could have paraphrased this, and maybe we can try to do that actually afterward, is try to paraphrase this direct quotation. Good, there's another direct quote. It might not be, there's definitely some just other citation in here. I don't see, summarization necessarily. Red citation. Yes, or simply with red, if you wanted to, you could just underline what is in parentheses.
You have a thesis statement or two, right?
This isn't really the, yeah, I just took these from random sections, so I don't have.
Oh, gotcha. Not the beginning. Okay.
Yeah. Very good, actually. Somebody noted that on the bottom. Who did the blue?
I did.
Perfect. Actually, yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that immediately. You're right.
Good job.
I'm summarizing the main idea here, or what I'm trying to say by doing this sort of literature review. Because in a way,
where is paraphrasing?
Paraphrasing is not in here yet. I
don't see it.
Yeah, it's not in here. But we can see, I've got, hold on, give me 1 second. this is what I was talking about with just citation. There's one citation. Somebody else would put that. Blomert, 96. There's another just regular citation, even though it is a direct quotation. But yes. So now let's paraphrase. I want Larissa, please paraphrase. I'm going to circle this for you.
Paraphrase.
You're going to paraphrase.
And maybe, da.
And maybe, yeah, okay, so what I want you to do, Larissa, is I circled Blomert's quote. I want you to paraphrase Blomert.
Maybe the first paragraph reflects the state's efforts with regard to language planning. It's
No, I'm not paraphrasing there. That's just fine. But here's what I want to do. Do you see what I underlined here? This here. Here's Blomert's quote.
Cases.
Yes. So what I want you to,
what in his definition of language planning.
Yes. So I want you to paraphrase. Paraphrase. So actually paraphrase in the chat, please. Paraphrase Blomert's quotation. All cases in which authorities attempt by whatever means to linguistic profile for their society. Please paraphrase Blomert and write it in the chat. And Marina, you are going to paraphrase Schmidt, the first Schmidt here. I'm going to, right here. Do you see Marina? This is Marina, too. Do you see? Marina?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, do you see? This is, you're paraphrasing this. You're going to produce a paraphrase.
I should paraphrase this fragment.
Yes, you should paraphrase Schmidt's direct quote. Here's our direct quote. So the political agenda is secured, blah, blah, blah. Okay?
Carly, my paraphrase is the first.
Yes.
In the first paragraph,
yes, yours is in the first.
It's really so.
Yes, yes it is. And let's see here. Olya, yours will be the third Schmidt. Right here. Do you see?
Begin with complete to shape public perception. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Schmidt argues that identity politics exist at the core. So let's try to work on these and put them in the chat. And maybe, Professor Semmingsen, do you want to compare what we have with what they have as well? Maybe I could do the first, you could do the second.
Sure, we can alternate. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. And we'll all compare what we have.
Carly.
Yes?
Excuse me. At stake, what is mean?
At stake?
At stake. What mean?
Believe that something important is at stake. Oh, no, как это будет? If something important is at stake.
At risk, or
yeah,
kind of on the table, or under discussion, or something that's at stake is in danger somehow, sort of. It's raised in importance.
Yeah, просто обозначает, что что-то очень важно.
Важно.
По поводу, yes, regarding the status and use of language is so important that they want to act.
It might help to read the entire paragraph, or this whole essay if you have time.
And also, just for your information, the style of citation that I'm using here is Harvard.
Okay.
The Harvard style, because specifically this publisher, the editor asked specifically for this style. So there are different ways to do it, but the most important information is here for sure. I put my paraphrase, just very quick paraphrase, in the chat. And if I were you, I would still include the page number. If you're paraphrasing someone, you should include the page number as well, so that someone knows where they can find that reference. And please let us know if you need help doing this.
It's very difficult for me.
Yes. Yes.
This quote.
So okay, look at my example. Look at my example in the chat. If you want to start, you can specifically say, to paraphrase Schmidt, identity, politics. Yeah, yours is sort of difficult. Right, no, that's the third one. It is difficult. I'm trying to think how I can help you. Well, let me start with the second one. To paraphrase Schmidt, language, policy, and planning become important when politicians feel an issue regarding language use in their society to be so important that it warrants intervention. There's an example. So to paraphrase Schmidt, language, policy, and planning appear on the political agenda when. Maybe begin with that model. I'll write this in the chat for you as well, Marita.
It would be great.
And how are you doing, Olya? Do you need some help too?
Yes, I do.
I'm just going to use, for yours, we're going to use you can also paraphrase using, for example, according to Schmidt, identity, politics, act to influence, public views, to influence public views, to influence public views regarding who exactly makes up the us, and who constitutes the them in the language policy in the states. Yeah, Olya, yours was really hard. I'm sorry about that. Oh, and then don't forget the quotation there, or the citation, I'm sorry. So before the period, before the точка, we would have page 98, and then it would be the точка, period. So according to Schmidt, identity politics act to influence public views regarding who exactly makes up the us. So that means who is the dominant group in society. So that's another thing you could say. Who exactly makes up the dominant group in society and who constitutes or who makes up the minority in state language policy. Yeah. Peggy, do you want to include your post now?
Sure. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oops. Okay. Let me post. I'm also working on a book chapter about blogging, and it's about people sharing their ideas. And this is from the literature review section, so probably the same type of writing we were just looking at. I'm assuming that was kind of from your literature section. And so I'm talking about a few ideas. I think, let's see what we have here. I have some citations, and I have a direct quote from Solomon. And then I'm drawing on a few ideas, but I don't elaborate too much. And so we were just talking about paraphrasing. I just thought maybe we could look at the last sentence about Solomon and see if anyone wanted, oops, sorry, that pen's so big. See if anyone wanted to try to paraphrase any of this paragraph or just this section. And I'm actually drawing on the work of Vygotsky, a Russian scholar from the early or mid-19th century. So this idea is that we share or co-construct meaning, especially on something like a blog. And actually, we do this in our web conferencing, if you think about it. But anyway, would anyone like to try to paraphrase? I'll just read it real quick. This study is also informed by theoretical concepts from educational psychology, such as distributed learning, and then I define it, or learning shared across groups beyond the individual's own understanding, as well as a framework of tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is shared through interpersonal experience, as well as the experience of others. So I'm actually trying to sort of paraphrase, even in my own writing. And in the last sentence, Solomon, in describing the types of thinking and information shared by interacting groups of people, states, people think in conjunction and partnership with others and with the help of culturally provided tools and implements. That actually kind of ties a little bit to the idea of English as a global language, as an aside. But does anyone want to try that last sentence to paraphrase it or shrink it down? I've also heard about a term for paraphrasing as like shrinking. You're shrinking down ideas. Okay, any hands, volunteers? Who wants to try?
Maybe we shouldn't let everyone off the hook so easily. Maybe you should all try.
Yeah, yes.
Well, it's actually,
they type it? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe type it into the chat. Okay. It's very useful, everyone, because if you're going to be writing and publishing articles in English, this is something that you will be doing, and it's difficult, it takes time, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try, and we can look at it together. It doesn't have to be perfect.
So you could even, some other words for state, let's see, I'm trying to think of synonyms. State, sometimes we use words like suggest, Solomon suggests, or Solomon believes, or Solomon writes. Those are kind of some synonyms for states. Let's see, believe, sorry, about the yellow. Let's see, let's try that. Believes, states, writes. Can you think of any others to help with paraphrasing? Sometimes we say suggest to be tentative. That's how I was taught to write. Let's see. Solomon describes. Oh, okay, got double.
Oh, sorry.
Those come to mind for me too. Anybody else? Go ahead and try it. Type in the chat window. we kind of got you started. You could say Solomon and then pick one. I like believes personally. And you could keep it short, like 5 or 6 words. We're just looking at the yellow part. Is everyone typing?
I don't, well, 2 microphones are muted, so maybe
Oh,
they are.
okay.
Oh, yeah, what about you?
I'm typing.
Oh, okay, we can't hear it. That looks good, Olya. Solomon believes people think in combination with each other and culture affects this process. Good use of affects. I think that's correct, right?
Very nice.
In
Thank you.
combination. And another way to say in combination,
Together.
together, yeah. Yeah, but that works too, we understand.
Together,
Yeah.
coordinate their thinking. People tend to coordinate their thinking. People tend to think together. Yeah, that's a really good, especially since we're asking you to do this so quickly.
Yeah, on the fly. So that's good.
It's definitely a good example. Marina, do you have anything for us?
Anybody else have a thought to paraphrase succinctly? Or
The
shrink
same
it down?
fragment. Peggy, the same fragment.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all, you've gone, and we're just seeing if anyone else has an idea. There's many ways to paraphrase. That's why it's hard, because there's not one way to do it.
In the chat, if you're having a difficult time, I put some other sort of synonyms or ways that you could word these concepts. So culturally provided tools and implements, maybe cultural aspects or cultural symbols and or practices. I think that's a good one.
So you thought of some synonyms or similar terms
Yeah.
using your background knowledge.
Larissa, how are you doing? Do you have anything for us?
The same paragraph.
Yeah.
Solomon discussed the idea of people connections and the role in the cultural processes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or
In generation.
yeah. People think in conjunction. Yeah. Yep. That's one variant. Definitely, and then, of course we would still include.
More general, but it may be.
Yeah.
It's really.
Yeah, you need more time to come up with something more specific. So what do you think? Do we move on a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. I have a couple other relevant examples, I think, because these are different. Perhaps you can tell me why. Okay, so show me the citations, underline the citations, and then we're going to talk about why I used this type of citation and why there is no author name, why there is no page number. Oh,
sorry.
That's okay.
Oh no. Okay. Let's see. I think I
Coach, are you there?
accidentally. What do we do?
Do you all see it should be the 1, 2, 3, third whiteboard?
I don't see it, and I don't know.
The third whiteboard that's titled International Agreements and Domestic Laws Pertaining to Minority Languages in Georgia. Do
This
you
in
all see
Russian?
this? No, no.
Oh, okay. No, I don't see it, and I don't know. Can we get the ball back?
I can't without
Okay.
Postja. But everyone, so there's
International agreements.
yes, international agreements. It's the third whiteboard. So if you just count 3 whiteboards over.
Oh,
So
okay.
Larissa sees it. Marina, do you see it?
I see.
Okay. Julia?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Please underline these citations. It's a different type of citation.
What color?
What did we say last time? You can do yellow. It doesn't matter. Any color now, because we're just looking for one type of citation. And in this case, I am citing existing laws and existing pieces of legislation. I'm not citing a particular author, and it's not a direct quotation. I'm drawing attention to, I'm citing existing laws. Yes? Okay, good. And can anyone tell me why at this point are there no page numbers? Why are there no page numbers? Why are there no authors? What do you think, Marina?
It's reference to the whole law.
Yes, exactly. So it's a reference to the entire law, not a piece of it. Later.
Entire, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Entire.
So later, this is an introduction to a particular section. So I mention these, and then I talk more about them in detail later. So there's no reference to page number or article number 5.2, something like that. That comes later, but this is just an introduction, and the references are made, like you said, with regard to the entire law. So that's why it is this way. Okay. Now, we're going to include citations. So again, let's do yellow. Yellow would be citations. Summarization would be, I don't know, let's see, summarization, red. Direct quotations would be, say, green. And that should be about it for now. Direct quotation.
I don't see direct quotation in this text.
There is. There are actually 2. The 4th whiteboard, since I can't show you, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4 whiteboards over. The beginning sentences are, in terms of Georgia's Azeri population.
Oh, okay.
And actually, there is some paraphrasing in here as well. Paraphrasing, we will make blue. There's one more direct quotation. And I don't know how this works in Russian, Russian academic sort of style in terms of writing, but I will help you. Does anybody, first of all, where's the second direct quotation? Does anybody know? There are no quotation marks in this direct quotation. It is here. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because what we do in academic papers is the length of the quotation is more than 2 lines long. If it is more than 2 lines long, it becomes its own small little paragraph. We indent it. We make the font bold. We make the size of the font, Schrift, right? We make the size smaller, 10 instead of 12. And we still have the citation at the very end. Yeah, this is called a blocked quote. Great. We have some more blue and paraphrasing citations. That's for the most part, that's it. So does everyone understand why this direct quotation at the bottom, why it looks the way that it does? And actually here, I did something that you will all, well, perhaps not all of you will be doing as well, but this article is on a sort of political news analysis site. And I translated Mamedov myself. So these are my translations of Mamedov. So I was doing what you will be doing, translating from Russian into English in some cases, right? Translating from Russian into English, trying to make it formal, academic English. That's why I think this is a good example, in my opinion. Professor Semmingsen, I think they located everything. Do you see
Yeah,
anything?
I think so.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, that looks really good. Thank you all. You guys did a really great job noticing this. And I would like to also point out here that perhaps somebody can tell me why there is no page number and why I don't include this Polytrus 2012 citation in parentheses. Why don't I do this here? Olia, what do you think?
I don't know.
So, and this is also just from a random section too, but the point is that in this paragraph, I'm talking about the same scholar, I'm talking about the same person, I'm making reference to the same Polytrus article. And when I talk about it repeatedly, sentence after sentence after sentence, the important part is that I include the citation at the end of the paragraph. If it is clear that I'm talking about the same source. And also, this is a website, so there was no page number because this was material that was originally published online, so I could not include a page number. All I could do was list the organization. All I could do was list the organization and the year of its publication. But again, it's clear the source of this. And I have citation here, as well as, just to be safe, as well as here. Does anybody have any questions about that? No questions? Okay. Okay. Are you tired?
No.
No? Okay. Okay. Now, let's look at the first whiteboard. The Russian research articles.
Mm-hmm.
We can choose whichever you like. So the first, tell me which paragraph you would prefer to go over now, because we're going to translate.
The first one.
Just one.
The first one.
First one. Okay. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. Let's work on translating the first one into academic English. And what I will do while you are thinking about this, I'm going to put it into my Google Translate, and we're going to see how bad the translation is. Because that's also very interesting.
Даша, а ты когда...
And then you can see how Google Translate is not a very reliable tool.
Carly, should we translate in English this fragment?
Yes, please, in English.
Yes, no?
Yes. Yes.
It's very difficult.
Okay, here's an idea. Here's an idea. Let's take this. Let's begin with the first sentence. Everyone, the first sentence. Think aloud. Translate.
The article analyzes two different practice, experience and language.
Very nice. Very nice. See, that wasn't so hard. Yeah. So
they practice have a general component. It's as somebody say, языковые ощущения, language, experience.
Language of sensations.
Sensations. Так. These, как примирение-то? This situation, to do clear the method, researching method of this author on the practice of real situation. This situation имела место.
Took place.
This situation was between famous painter, thank you, Marina, famous painter and theoretician Johansson Itten, and there я не знаю, как тут ученики будут, если они последовательны.
His followers or students.
Yeah, and his students. At one of the lessons of course in the graduate school of construction and artist design in Germany. At the 1919 for 1933.
Yeah, okay. And so I put this article into Google Translate, and then we can see it in the chat. We can see it in the chat.
I see in the chat.
And again, we can see mistakes with regard to word order. For example, the first the first sentence. The article examines the confrontation between. That sounds fine. The article examines the confrontation between what? Practices or between dissimilar practices. That would sound better. The article examines the confrontation between two dissimilar practices. Because it sounds as though it's been automatically translated. I'm going to write this in here. Between two dissimilar practices. Experience and language. And then the next sentence, same problem. This collision is detected, the common component. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe this confrontation, the противостояние, this confrontation, or within this confrontation, there is a common component. For example, facilitating their reconciliation at the level of so-called language sensations. What do you think, Professor Seddington? How would you change the second sentence because it sounds wrong?
Okay, let's see, to make it make sense. You're thinking of another word for collision?
Yeah.
Interface?
Or even just within this confrontation?
I'm trying to think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's see. Combination, not what they're thinking of.
No, not exactly, because this is
okay. It's more like two disparate things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So in this confrontation, there is an identifiable component. Facilitating their reconciliation is not a good word. Facilitating their that's a difficult one. Yeah, reconciliation, to me, I always think of the religious meaning.
Assimilation? No, not assimilation. Accommodation or no.
Their accommodation or of their, not appeasement, that's some political word. Let's see, even in this case, we could go ahead and look at our thesaurus and see what our thesaurus has to say about that, about reconciliation. Does anybody have any other words instead of reconciliation? How can we change this? Let's try to find some different words.
Okay.
Harmony, reproachment, adaptation, conformity, settlement, accord, agreement. Approachment, settlement.
No, not compromise. Let's see.
Yeah, compromise seems wrong. Their harmonization. Their yeah, that's a difficult one. Kostya chose these paragraphs. He made it difficult for us.
Yeah, these are linguistic. I'd say you kind of need to draw on linguistics.
Yeah. This time it wasn't even me.
Who's our linguist here?
And let's go ahead and move on to the next sentence. During this passage, clarifies the method itself, the author of the research on the example of the maze of the real situation. That, again, makes no sense. Yeah, it does not make sense. During this process,
during this process,
the method is clarified, or the method the method of uncomplicating the puzzle of reality or something. Here, maze is not a good word either. And actually, labyrintha, you can also say labyrinth. There's the cognate labyrintha, labyrinth, or puzzle. Puzzle sounds better than maze, but that's okay. Once played out between the famous painter and art theoretician, Johannes Itten, and his students at one of the lessons of, that doesn't make sense, at one of the lessons of the course at Bauhaus. That doesn't make sense either. So again, let's think about how we can improve this. I want everybody to put these other sentences in here. We're going to try to improve these. I'm going to make you do it. I'm not going to think out loud anymore. But you can, without looking at this English translation as well, you can directly look at the Russian translation, and or not the Russian translation, the original Russian, and try to translate it yourself. Let's try. Oh yeah, you try talking out loud. You try translating this out loud quickly. В процессе этого проясняется. If you start there.
During this process, the method is clarified.
Perfect. By the author?
By the author.
By the author.
By the author of this research maze. By the author of this.
Carly, maybe to make accent not on the process, but on the
author, maybe?
example. Короче говоря, переводить не дословно структуру вот этого параграфа, а то вот эта ситуация, которая приведена для примера, она демонстрирует, иллюстрирует метод. Показывает метод. Не проясняет, а показывает.
Yeah, so it demonstrates or shows the method. Demonstrates the method. So yeah, you don't have to necessarily translate it bukvalno. You don't have to. You can translate it for the meaning. So if you can read this and give us a general meaning.
Здесь структура мысли очень замысловатая у автора. Ей следовать.
So what do you think, Larissa? How would you
I think
summarize it?
Nearly so. On this, by this example, by the example of real situation between the famous painter and theoretic Johannes Itten and his students on one of the lessons of the course, at the Bauhaus. This example, to do demonstrates the author's method.
Yeah.
And the same structure. The method is how The method demonstrates how author the road of and the way of author's research.
Yeah, it's very difficult, but that was a very good. That was a really good summarization of the entire idea. So if you did that, it could work very well, I think. Does anybody else have any ideas? I'm going to make everybody else try it.
Maybe something like the method is showed on the real situation which took place between the Johannes Itten and his students on the course in Bauhaus.
Yeah, that's really good.
Very well. Very good.
That's really good. And I wouldn't also say lesson of the course, because that sounds redundant. You could say his students at Bauhaus or something. You could say that. And again, everything else could be in parentheses, so you don't have to summarize the Shea Schola, whatever. We don't have to do that stuff. We just put it in there in parentheses. So that works. Okay, let's move on to something a little bit more fun. Something a little bit more fun, but still difficult. Don't get your hopes up too much. It is, oh gosh, I really need that globe back.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I dropped it.
Does everyone see by the last whiteboard, there is an arrow that is pointing down. By the last whiteboard tab, there's an arrow pointing down. And if you click on that, it has the numbers 1 and the number 2. So click on the number 1.
Oh, okay. It's a scanned PDF.
Yeah.
There's circled things in blue pen.
Yes, there is blue pen.
Okay.
This is something that is from my own academic Russian course. It was sort of a funny example. And so what we're going to do is we are going to try to translate this nonsense into, we're going to try to translate it into understandable English first, simply so that it's understandable. And then we can try to make it sound more formal from there. So after here, we're going to start from here. Just let me make sure where it is. The first, where the arrow is. Let's try to translate this. Does everyone see?
Yes.
I think it's really funny, and you won't be able to translate it. You won't be able to translate this word for word.
It's impossible.
Yes, it's impossible.
It's possible, Marina.
So you just have to say what is
difficult.
You just have to say what is Anton Pavlich saying here in simple words. What is he trying to say? So for example, he's talking about we could start here by translating this. Somebody tell me, what is his goal in writing this letter?
Too many unnecessary words.
Yes.
This fragment.
So it's a little bit, he's trying to be too formal. He's trying to be too formal. There is such a thing as being too formal in English as well. Some people
That's true.
can overuse their thesaurus.
Mm.
And that is extremely frustrating, where every other word someone puts into the thesaurus and tries to have as many complicated, difficult words one after another, and that's not good, even in English, even in academic English. It's not good. Okay, so somebody tell me what's Anton Pavlovich saying in this. And first of all, what is this? Is this a letter? Is this an email, a fax? What is it?
A letter.
A letter,
Letter?
maybe a memo,
Maybe.
a small business memo, maybe.
It was written with a pencil.
Mhm. So, Olya, what's the message here?
The person who wrote this is trying to postpone solving this problem.
He's trying to postpone a problem from unfolding.
He's trying to postpone answering the letter.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can anybody be more specific? Marina, can you be more specific? What's the message? Or the goal? You guys are really stoned, aren't you? Well, okay, so we know that it's ridiculously formal. It's too formal. But let's try to look at these key phrases and think how we would translate these. Let's look at these words.
We ask you to prolong and enough.
Yeah. Okay, but what about this first that I underlined? Настоящим сообщаем.
In this letter, we inform you.
Yeah. So you could also say, in English we could say, if we're using if it's to a colleague or something, I am writing to inform you that, or I would like to inform you or to notify you of such and such and such. What about в силу того, что? What's в силу того, что?
Because
We're making it. What is more formal than because? What is more academic than because? Due to. Due to, in light of the fact that, due to, in light of, what else, Professor Sampson, do we use instead of because?
Is in light of synonym to due to?
Yes. In
Yeah,
light
I
of.
think due to is really
Due
good.
to.
Let me think.
So we could say, for example, I'll give you an example with in light of. In light of the fact that my train was late, I missed my meeting. Or, dear director, due to the fact that my train was delayed.
Yeah.
In light of, I sometimes use in light of the fact, or in light of the fact that, in light of the fact that, but you just have to be sure that what you're stating is a fact. In light of the fact that. And what about наличие?
It's a necessary word in this text.
Necessary here. And so he's saying, what is he saying? Factual, what is he saying? The factual.
Existence. Existence.
The actual existence of the requested like meeting or something like that. Yeah. Just I don't think we need to do that.
We should say that parts for reductor
what did you say?
Недостаточный.
Yes, it's just an entire mess. It's mess. But then we'll see here this story. The title of this рассказ is Не Чехов. It's called Не Чехов. So then let's look here. So Anton Pavlovich changes his style of writing. He changes because his boss got angry with him. So now it's too informal. So now let's translate what he's saying and try to make it more formal. So in the first lines of my letter, I rush to, or I want to report that, someone continue, that we received your letter. Thank you very much for this. Larissa, do you see? Down here it, right here.
His answer on your letter.
It's at the bottom of the page. You'll have to scroll down. Where his letter begins with. Yeah. Okay, this one should be kind of fun. This one should be easier. This one should be a little bit easier. Larissa, can you try to translate for us?
What part?
Beginning with.
Beginning. After your question, to return to your question, we should say that due to your
Oh no. Larissa, the too informal letter at the bottom of the page. Scroll down all the way to the bottom. It's the second letter.
Second letter.
Yes. The beginning of the second letter.
I see. At the beginning of my letter, I could say that получить your letter. Receive your letter. And we say you thanks. We are living and we are healthy. And we wish you the same. The weather is good. But yesterday it was snow. Растаял.
Melted.
What is
it melted.
Melt. It melted. But it melted. It melted today. About your question, I could say that
Why
idiots in our factory. Stopped. Send details. And if they send it. We have a bad results.
Is it like the ends don't fit or something?
Плохие результаты у нас после их посылки. And we should say that after these researches, after our researches, we see
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing details. Как очень прошу-то?
I beg
Ask
of
you.
I ask you. Нет, а чтобы очень было? Чтобы была
I
форма.
beg of you.
I beg
I
of you.
plead.
Ага. I ask you. Cry him.
Oh,
All.
yell or scream at them.
Scream. А как? Вот из... Yell or scream at them.
Между делом.
А между делом я не знаю. I don't know. Сейчас скажу. Но здесь можно, знаете, maybe... As you can scream, as you could scream at them. And because we have nothing to do. Nothing to do. We have, нет, у нас нет возможности.
We have no possibilities. We have no
We
options.
have action. We have no
Options.
Carly, please scream. It's too polite.
Please yell at them. We usually say yell.
Carly, you have stupid students.
No.
Oh, this is difficult. This is really difficult. I was reading this and I was confused. It's difficult to try to translate it. I tried to translate it too. It's very difficult. So let's imagine if you're saying this, if you're writing a letter in formal English, you could begin with "Dear Sir" or "Dear Mr. Smith." First of all, I don't think we need to say that we received your letter. I don't think we need to say that. And we definitely would not say everyone's alive and well and we wish you the same. That's not formal. We don't talk about the weather. So we wouldn't call our employees idiots. Say, I need to report, or I would like to report that the employees of our factory have stopped sending details, or those are gears. So they stopped.
Little gears.
Yeah, little teeny little gears. Yeah. So I must report that the employees at our factory have completely stopped sending gears. Yeah, and if they, let's see, and on the event that they do send these gears,
Забежки. Teeth, little teeth.
yeah, the pieces do not fit, or something. The pieces do not fit, and the reserves, or I would say reserves, or the resources that we once had have now been exhausted. Resources have been exhausted. It means there's nothing left. So, I don't know. It is my recommendation that you reprimand, or maybe not reprimand. It is my recommendation that you speak with the employees about this matter. Something along those lines. What do you think, Professor Semmingsen? Does that sound professional enough?
Yeah.
It's so difficult. Yeah. So it is my recommendation that you speak with the employees on this matter. Otherwise, we have limited options at our disposal, or something.
Yeah.
And that would sound much more professional. But naturally, we don't talk about the weather and everyone's alive and well, and thanks for your letter, things like that. Okay, so we are out of time for today. as of right now. So the assignment for next week is that you will choose your own source, and I will post this in the blog. Your assignment will be in the blog. You need to choose your own source about English as a global language. Positive source, negative source. Again, I wanted you to know that you don't have to take a positive position on this issue if you really feel that it is a horrible thing English is a global language. You can argue or make whatever point you would like. I just don't want you to think that you can't take a negative stance on this. So please, you can express your opinion. So choose your own source. And then you're going to come to class prepared to summarize it, your source.
Mm-hmm.
You can summarize, you can paraphrase, you can quote. The idea is to use what we have learned in class, and be sure to take care that you don't plagiarize. Always be careful about that, so make sure you include your citations. So in addition to that, you're going to write the second paragraph of your essay, and you're going to post it in the blog. So the assignment, find your own source, come to class ready to tell us about your source, paraphrase, quote, summarize, and post your second paragraph in the blog. Do you have questions? Any questions?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Зубишки не сходятся у нас.
Are you going to go have some wine and relax after this class now that I need you?
You need to relax.
Yes.
Great relax.
Yes. But it's interesting if you think about it. The idea of the exercise was to think about how our minds work, how we translate things. Do we translate bukvalna, word for word? Do we translate word for word? Do we translate by meaning? How do our minds work when we're translating something? That's the idea. And to try to train your brain to think in English. Just as I have been continually trying to train my brain to think in Russian. So I'll train my brain to think in Russian. You train your brain to think in English. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.
Thank you, Karin.
Bye. Bye.
Aha, до свидания.
До свидания.
No. Professor Semington, yeah.
Professor Semington. See you again.
See you next week.
Bye. Увидимся.
Bye.
Bye. Что, выходим?
Ну да. Again, I'm sorry if parts of this were boring.
Oh no, that's
For
great.
you.
It's good. They seemed really engaged.
That's good.
Yeah, I noticed that.
This story is really funny. It's just
Aw.
kind of humorous. It's about how the employee starts with being way too formal, and he's just abusing the thesaurus, and it's just way too convoluted where you can't even figure out what the heck he's talking about. And then his boss tells him, hey, knock it off. Write in a more simplified manner.
And then it goes the other way.
Yes.
Aw,
Yes.
that's funny.
Yeah. Well, I have to get going. I have to go catch a train tonight, and
Oh, where? To where?
to Tampere. It's sort of on the other side of Finland a bit. It's,
Oh, wow.
well, I mean, it's not entirely on the other side, but it's about 5 hours away, so I'll have some time to get some work done.
Oh, good. Okay.
I went ahead and responded to both of those blog posts because I was hoping that the other students would.
I saw. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I was hoping that the rest of them would have posted.
I saw that.
So I'm hoping they didn't just stop coming.
Right. I'll check later today to see who sends reminders to them. Kostya?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope
Yeah.
hope we'll see them next week. It seemed as though they had a good time in class last week, so
Yeah. Nothing
don't think-
scary.
yeah. I don't think anything had changed too much.
Maybe they didn't want to read.
Yeah,
Sometimes people don't
or
like to read.
maybe it could be maybe they were hesitant to come to class since they didn't turn in their
Oh.
assignments.
That happens. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see them.
Yeah. Someone can write them an encouraging word, maybe Kostya.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
And so I will, it seems like the assignment was pretty straightforward. If you have any other ideas, because again, it was just they had to find a source.
Yeah, you said it says in the syllabus link it. Do they need to, in the blog reminder, do they
yes.
need to post a link to their
Yeah.
source?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be good. And then
Yeah.
write the second paragraph. So that's pretty straightforward. So if it's okay with you, I'll probably just go ahead and post it while I'm on the train.
That'd be good. Yeah, and just remind them not to make it a list like Larissa did.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
good.
I will. And then I need to look and see. I don't even know what's on the syllabus necessarily for next week, but we can if we can exchange emails maybe this weekend.
Sure, I'll be online. Clear,
Okay.
concise writing. We've got a lot. Clear, concise writing, complex parts of sentences, proper punctuation, using synonyms for everyday words, show, provide list of useful transitions. Do you already have those resources, like the list?
I have that list somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say if you need me to find examples or resources, I can do that.
If you can find examples, that would be really great because I thought we could have them. We'd do some more correction,
Okay.
group correction, and
Okay.
that would be a good idea. And
Depends. Okay.
if you let me know, because otherwise, like by Sunday evening, or even actually by Monday, if I don't have a plan in place yet, I kind of start to panic, and then I'll start scrambling for all the stuff myself, and then we might have multiple materials.
Right.
So if you can just let me know, hey, I found this, or if you drop me an email saying I'm planning on finding something like this, so you don't do it.
Got it. Duplication. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I better run, but I'll write you an email after I post the assignment. I'll send you the link.
Oh, perfect.
with the assignment too, and then we can exchange from there.
Take some examples. Text.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Carly. Sorry about the privileges. I don't know.
It happens. It's kind of a pain. And usually Coast's just sitting at the computer, but he wasn't today, so it's okay.
All right.
All right. Well, have a good rest of the week, and I will be in touch.
Okay. Have a good train trip.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.